What is up, guys? Evan Aldo here. I am up in the mountains right now. Got my little hat on. It's a little chilly in the mountains. Getting close. Used to the air the not the air quality. Used to the altitude up here. So I some of you probably care, some of you don't. But let's get into Bitcoin. So the big thing here and this is I'll give CVO Crypto some credit for this because he was I was talking about these spiral lines too, but he brought it up on when I had him on the live stream last week, and I think it's a really good scenario potentially breaking downward, but not breaking downward that badly, just enough to get some more fear into these markets. If we look at fear and greed on Coin Market Cap, this is a newer fear and greed chart. These things, for long term, are usually pretty good. If you buy in the fear, usually you're pretty good in the long term. Now, I do think there's going to be a bear market in 2026, and you're probably going to come back down to 50K or something. That's my view on it. Probably lower than where we are right now. But for this year, if you think we're going to follow the 4-year cycle. If we don't follow the damn 4-year cycle, you could probably blame that on Javier Milei and all these meme coin aficionados. Just I guess some people were talking about, Ben Cowan was talking about sentiment is getting bad. And I agree. Yeah, it is rough with this meme coin stuff. I would hope that people stop and move on to bigger and better things. Kind of like how people stopped with AMC and GameStop to a certain extent and moved on to bigger and better things. Like crypto meme coins. No, I'm just kidding. But I think you get my drift a little bit. So this area, and then say Bitcoin breaks down below 90K, you're probably going to be close to the extreme fear area, which would be where we want to see it. Now, if you look at the daily here, these EMAs, Market Cipher A EMAs, getting all into the gray, as you can see it here, generally it gives you something to a downside. Generally it gives you, that was not really completely in the brights, but downside, it generally brings you down a little bit more. So potentially that 87 area, potentially that area, looking like you're breaking all the way down to 70K, but not quite. Can you come down to 70K? Absolutely. We generally do see those 33% corrections. So that would be the market reset here. But as a lot of you guys have said, sometimes it's going to be, as Bitcoin, more institutional interest and all that, it's going to be less. Only 20%. That's what people said at the highs in April and November of 2021, and look what happened. But still, maybe they're more right this time. But I still think that that scenario is pretty likely. We'd have to kind of look at what happens at the 80, 87 or whatever. But if you're going down to 70K, you're definitely going to have some type of resurgence. And then if we move on to kind of Ethereum, similar potential here. I think that Ethereum may be able to finally, I think it was on what was I looking at? Some EMAs or something, green dot, something, another, maybe like that, finally a little jump or something against Bitcoin. We're so overdue for it. Even if this does go to oblivion, it's going to have some type of resurgence at some point, as we're kind of already seeing with this nice candle here. So maybe market goes down a little bit, but ETH holds up reasonably well. Blood diamond right there. If Bitcoin only goes down to 86, maybe this holds this area or holds this area, maybe come down to 2, those kind of areas. But that's the big area that we want to keep. I know I'm kind of sounding all over the place, but potentially if you lose that and then scare away a lot of people, go down to 2K, that's where it's possible. But the people that are more bearish right now, I see where they're coming from. I did open a new short today that I think has a probably at least a 60-70% chance of winning. If you guys are interested in that, link is down below for the Discord. You guys want one free month in the Discord if you sent up BYDFI, BloFin, or Breakout down below. On BYDFI or BloFin, you just got to deposit $100, open a support ticket with your UID in the Discord, give you one free month in there, and then Breakout, you just got to buy any evaluation account. Links are down below for those, so check that out if you guys are interested. So ultimately, that's kind of what I'm looking at there. If you want to get really freaking pessimistic, and I guess it is looking a little bit more like it's possible with sentiment. I guess with all this meme coin garbage, that would be one technical target. There's some logarithmic bands that people have talked about. Ben Cowan's talked about those logarithmic bands. I guess the lower part of them is like 1,500 or whatever. That would be very depressing. That's about a 60 percent drop. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. When you're too bullish, people who are bearish get mad. When you're too bearish, people who are bullish get mad. Like, I mean, you know, like Trump said a few years ago, I think, or well, at least at one point. One thing I could tell you for sure is that I don't know everything. One thing I know for sure, I really know, is that I don't know everything. But you know, that's kind of my main view, is that we could follow the Fourier cycle here. Solana is another one. You know, the other thing too, this is a big point for Solana. I can see Bitcoin, you know, 90K, 86K. Solana maybe holding up at 152. If you lose that, you're probably looking at 122. I'm just curious about that exact correction for Solana. So that'd be about 50%. You probably would come down to that 146 mark, you know, maybe wick down, but then kind of hold that 154. That's kind of my main guess, not to sound overly pessimistic. I mean, my main guess is probably like somewhere in the high 80s here, mid to high 80s. ETH could hold up better, maybe just 2,400 or maybe a retest at 21. Solana would be 150, you know, 140s, that kind of area. And then, you know, just a few other of these. You know, I was looking at Cardano. You know, we have that trigger wave, you know, a nice wave kind of forming, money flow coming up. It's a good signal. You know, as long as you can kind of hold, I would say at least 65 cents, you're generally got a good shot. You know, just thinking about the psychology of, you know, how a lot of people are. You know, you come back down to like 64 cents, probably a lot of people would be scared. They're scared right now. So I mean, you know, it really depends what you think. Do you think we're going to follow this pattern, you know, come down, keep going, or do you think we're just going to, you know, come all the way back down to oblivion or whatever? You know, it really depends what you think. You know, AVAX, I would hope to hold this level at 21. Maybe we could wick down below it, but yeah, I mean, I would hope to hold some of these levels. You know, if we do lose this, there's going to be a lot of fear. If we do lose that area, I'm sure there's a lot of liquidity at high 19s, a lot of liquidity right over here. You know, very important spot. So I don't think she's going to lose that easily without a fight. I know people talk about Sui. You know, this trigger wave is good on the 5-day, 4-day. Can you come down lower, scare more people away? Sure, but I don't think you're going to come down that much lower. And I still think for a lot of these markets, you generally could follow some situation like this into the end of the year. Keep in mind, though, a lot of times at the end of these markets, you know, it gets parabolic quickly. So, you know, say Powell waits until June to stop quantitative tightening, or maybe even a little later than June. It could happen quickly. So that's what we got to kind of look at here. You know, I mean, some other ones I like to look at, others versus Bitcoin. The thing on this that we've been kind of waiting for in the Fourier cycle was, you know, we're over 2 months, say a month past, you know, a month and a half past schedule here. Here, February 13th. Yeah, it was later February. I think February 20th you started to get pretty good. We're not quite there yet, but I wouldn't count this out completely. You're just trying to break above that area first. We want to see that 2-week money flow looking better, trigger wave kind of forming there. So we want to see a few more, you know, kind of bullish things, you know, forming here before we, you know, move on there. Well, that's all I wanted to look at this chart anyway. And then others itself, that's a nice reverse head and shoulders like I talked about. As long as we don't lose this area too badly, you know, as long as we don't lose that area too badly, we should be able to hold it. Maybe a retest of that. We got to see what happens. But keep in mind, I mean, it takes a while sometimes to really form these, you know, head and shoulder situations. You know, if you move that area from there to there, you know, you start in that area there. By the time you know, it could be choppy until April. You know, it could be choppy, and then you finally, you know, break upward in April. I don't know. It's not even gonna bother. You know, ApeCoin. You know, a lot of these, hopefully, you won't lose that kind of area. You know, right there, Gala or whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of Gala, really, but you know, hopefully, you won't lose kind of these previous low points, and hopefully, you will kind of break upward. That's, you know, kind of what we're hoping for. Last thing I'll look at quickly, you know, yields. We kind of want these to go down, which I think they will gradually continue to go down. They're kind of choppy. It doesn't really know what it wants to do. But I think as the year goes on, I think this is going to play out. You know, this looks pretty bearish on that 2-week. I think that's going to play out. And as we, you know, come down to these areas, probably in June, maybe lose this area in June, that'll help out these markets, hopefully. So that's the main update I got for you guys right now. If you're interested in the trading, check out BYDFI, check out BloFin. down below. A lot of really good bonuses, like I mentioned. It's 10% off for life for BYDFI and BloFin with my link down below. And as always, if you sign up to any of those exchanges down below, deposit at least $100. I'll give you one free month in All the Empire VIP Discord. Always appreciate you guys smashing the like button, subscribe to the channel. See you guys soon. Goodbye.